Okay, so you're thinking about becoming a Power Lines Supervisor.
A real high-impact job,
Definitely keeps the lights on.
that's for sure.
We're diving into RoleCatcher's platform today.
They've got some great resources.
Yeah, to get you ready for those interview questions.
It's like having a cheat sheet, almost.
All right, so what's one of the first questions you think someone's going to face when they're going for this kind of position?
Well, they're going to ask about your experience,
Okay.
right? Tell us about your experience in power line installation and maintenance. It's a classic.
Okay, so it sounds simple enough.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's deceptively tricky.
Yeah. How do you approach that without just like reciting your resume?
You got to bring it to life. Think about the projects that really showcase your skills.
So like a specific example or
Exactly. Did you lead a complex installation? Maybe develop a new procedure that made things more efficient?
ooh, those certifications too, right?
Huge. Mentioning something like your CUSP shows you're serious about safety.
Right, which in this line of work is
It's essential.
absolutely essential.
It's not just about knowing the rules, it's about living and breathing that safety-first mentality.
And I bet interviewers can spot that a mile away.
Oh, absolutely. They'll ask things like, how do you prioritize safety when working with power lines? Just to see if you're the real deal.
Okay, so what are some things that you can say that show that beyond just saying, I follow all the rules?
Give them concrete examples. Are you an active member of any safety organizations like the IAEI?
Staying updated, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Did you ever go above and beyond to implement a new safety procedure?
Showing them you're proactive.
100%. Now, RoleCatcher has this really cool AI feature that can actually analyze your answers.
Yeah, how does that work with a question like this?
So imagine you've written out a sample answer.
Okay,
Their AI looks for areas where you could be more impactful.
like giving more detail.
Exactly. Instead of just saying, I always prioritize safety, you could say, in my last role, I implemented a new checklist that reduced accidents by 15%.
Ooh, putting a number on it? I like it.
It makes a difference.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And the AI is tailored to the specific job, so it understands what a power line supervisor actually does.
So you're not getting generic advice. You're getting advice for this exact role.
Spot on.
I like it. Okay, so we've talked about experience, we talked about safety, but what about problem solving? Because I feel like with power lines, things can go wrong.
Oh, you have no idea. Every day's an adventure.
Right.
That's why they ask, can you give an example of a challenging situation you faced and how you resolved it?
It's like those disaster movies, but in real life. What's your advice for tackling that kind of question?
STAR method. Remember that.
Refresh my memory.
Situation, task, action, result. You set the scene, describe what you were responsible for, the actions you took, and then bam, the positive outcome.
So don't just say, I faced challenges. Tell a story about how you overcame them.
Exactly. And be specific. What technical knowledge did you use? Did you show leadership?
This is your time to shine. Now, RoleCatcher also has their career guide. Does that tie into the interview process at all?
Absolutely. Even if you're just starting out, understanding the career path helps you answer questions about your goals.
So you can say, hey, I see myself as a senior supervisor someday.
Exactly. It shows ambition and that you're in it for the long haul.
Love it. So are there other curveball questions people should be ready for?
Oh, yeah. Leadership's huge in this role. How do you manage a team of technicians? Be ready for that one.
Because it's more than just telling people what to do, right?
Right. Are you collaborative, directive? Think about your style and have examples ready.
So if you're all about teamwork, you could talk about a time you brainstormed a solution with your team.
Perfect example. Or if you're more about setting clear expectations, you could talk about how that led to a stellar safety record.
Showing, not just telling.
Exactly. And always tie it back to those core things: communication, problem solving, adaptability, and of course, safety.
Makes sense. It's a high-pressure job, got to show you can handle it. What about the technical side? There's got to be some serious knowledge needed here.
Absolutely. Brush up on those different power line systems.
Overhead, underground, all that.
Yep. They might ask about your experience with both and the challenges of each.
This is where you get to geek out a little.
Totally. Don't be afraid to get into the nitty-gritty detail.
And if you've got specialized training, flaunt it.
For sure. Now, be ready for those curveball questions that test your judgment.
Oh, like what?
Something like, tell me about a time you had to make a difficult decision on a project. They want to see your thought process.
So how do you answer that well when there's not necessarily a right answer?
Transparency is key. Walk them through your reasoning step by step. Did safety come first? Were there budget limits?
What factors did you have to weigh?
Exactly. Show them you can make tough calls while keeping everything on track.
Even if things didn't go perfectly, it's about what you learned.
Right. Absolutely. They want to see you're always growing. And this is another place where RoleCatcher's AI feedback can be super helpful.
For these kinds of nuanced answers.
Yeah, it can help you make sure your explanation is clear and impactful.
Like having an extra set of eyes on your answers.
Exactly. Okay, we've talked a lot about the skills, but what about staying up to date? This field is constantly changing.
Right. So how do you show them you're on top of your game?
Talk about how you stay current. Are you part of industry organizations? Do you go to conferences?
Reading journals, taking courses, all that.
Exactly. Show them you're not just keeping up, you're ahead of the curve.
It's like that saying, learn something new every day.
Exactly. Because in this line of work, you never want to stop learning.
So true. Well, we've covered a lot of ground, but before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, any final thoughts for aspiring Power Lines supervisors?
Remember, you've got this. Use the resources out there, like RoleCatcher. Practice your answers, and most importantly, let your passion for this vital field shine through.
Because it is vital. It's what keeps our world running. All right, we'll be back with more insights on how to rock that interview, so stay tuned.
It can really help you fine-tune those answers.
Yeah, for sure. And we've talked about all the technical skills and everything, but what about just the day-to-day managing of the work itself?
Oh, they'll definitely ask about that.
Right.
Making sure projects stay on track, that they're on budget.
Okay.
You got to be ready for questions like, how do you ensure power line projects are completed on time and within budget?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It is.
It's like a loaded question, right?
It is a little bit.
Because so much can go wrong.
Yeah, you got to showcase those project management skills.
Right.
Have you used different methodologies? Do you have a track record of success?
So instead of just saying, I'm good at meeting deadlines,
Yeah.
give a specific example.
Exactly. Maybe you implemented a new scheduling system that reduced delays.
Oh, it's a good one.
Or maybe you negotiated a great deal with a supplier
Right.
without compromising on quality, of course. Of course. Of course. So it's all about those concrete examples.
100%. Paint that picture for them.
Yeah, and if you've used any specific software or anything like that, mention it.
Throw it in there.
Project management tools, budgeting software, it all matters.
Right, because it shows you're not just talking the talk.
Exactly. You've walked the walk.
You've been there, done that.
Right.
So we've covered technical skills, leadership, staying updated.
Project management.
It's like this role has it all.
It does. And that's why RoleCatcher is so helpful. Their career guides break it all down, and their AI feedback helps you tailor your answers.
It's like having a secret weapon.
I like to think so.
I love it. But even with the best prep, you might get thrown a curveball question. Any advice for those moments?
Just stay calm, take a breath.
Easier said than done when you're in the hot seat.
I know. But seriously, gather your thoughts. It's okay to ask for clarification if you need it.
So if you're like, tell me about a time you failed, don't freak out.
Exactly. It's about showing you learn from your mistakes, that you can adapt.
And that's a good point. It's not just about having the right answers. It's about showing who you are, how you think.
Exactly. And that confidence will come through if you've prepared well.
It's like getting in the zone you know.
Exactly. And remember, the interview is a two-way street.
Oh, that's a good point. What questions should candidates be asking to get a sense of the company culture?
Don't be afraid to dig into their safety culture. Ask about their record, their training, how they really live that safety-first mentality.
So not just, do you have a safety policy?
Right. Maybe ask, can you tell me about a time the company went above and beyond to keep employees safe?
I like that. Get specific. And what about career growth?
Definitely ask about that.
Yeah.
Opportunities for advancement, mentorship, continuing education, it all shows what they value.
Finding a place where you can thrive long term.
Exactly. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive on becoming a Power Lines supervisor, any final words of wisdom?
Yeah. What's the one thing people should remember when they're prepping for these interviews?
Preparation is key. Use those resources like RoleCatcher to practice your answers, tell those STAR method stories, and let that passion shine through.
Because this is a field that makes a difference. It keeps everything running.
It sure does.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Good luck out there, everyone. You got this.